Yo, what's happening? Dave Acton back with another episode of Larynx Limelight, taking the day out to talk to an artist from the Welsh hip-hop and grime scene. Talk to them about their inspirations, their origins, their intentions, what they've got going on, etc., etc. First things first, thank you very much for the continued support of the platform. It is very much appreciated. You can check out all our social media pages, all the content on the YouTube channel in the link in the description below. And of course, we've got Larynx Live 4 on the way this November. We go back to the bunkhouse in Swansea. CRAZETHEJACK headlining tickets are on sale now. If you want to come and get involved in that showcase, go and get yourself a ticket. But to the matter at hand, we have another one of Newport's finest with us today. There's something in the water in Newport because everyone seems to be absolutely smashing it from day to the current day. We've got man like Brighty with us. How's it going, bud?
Yo, bro, I'm good. How's things? You good?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Like I say, you are one of Newport's finest. There is absolutely no doubt about it. One of the most consistent and hard-working artists in the Welsh scene as a whole. And it's been a pleasure to research what you've actually done in the scene from your very beginnings to now, as you are still going. You're running up to an album at the moment. First things first, we have to get the question out of the way. How has COVID treated you? You can't go into an interview at the moment in time and not talk about COVID.
Well, firstly, bro, thank you for that mad intro. That was I really appreciate that, man. And still to this day, when people like big me up, when we first started doing music, people used to take the mick, obviously, and I still struggle. And I always say I really struggle, and I find that the words hard to get out to take compliments because I still feel that people are taking the piss.
Absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not.
Bro, to be honest, COVID, I can't complain. Personally, like, I've been working from home for over a year. I've been able to do music on my lunch breaks, and I've been able to spend a lot more time in the studio because people are not pulling me from here, there, and everywhere, asking me to do social events and just go to just go food shopping and stuff. So I've tried to take positives out of it. It's probably, I don't know how it's gonna feel going back with confidence and stuff, going back out and being around large crowds and stuff like that, but I've tried to look at it as a positive, and I don't think I would have been this consistent without it. So that's how I look at it. I know a lot of people have struggled with it, but for me personally, it's been more good than bad. Apart from obviously my haircut episodes where I went bald a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all had a bit of a hair crisis while we were going through the past 12 months. As you say, you have maintained being active over the past 12 months. It's been mad to see. Not only have you delved in the music a bit more, you've also like started a gaming channel, Brighty Twitch channel, which I mean, for me, I much rather pick up and play, but I will watch people having a crack on it. For the most part, to see them rage, like I want to see them rage.
Bro, I gotta be honest, I bought all the equipment to set that up, and I didn't go like as head on with it as I thought I would. So I'm kind of sitting here now with all the equipment, and I haven't posted anything like game wise for a long time. So I'm hoping I can get back into it eventually. But yeah, it was I've kind of disappointed in the money that I've spent because I haven't done that much with it. But there's a lot of criteria to hit, before you can start getting paid off it.
Yeah.
And to sit there and play a game for like 14 hours, like over a 2-week period or something, or however long they wanted you to play it, I found myself recording live and not even like speaking to people because I was just like, I just want to get through these 14 hours or whatever it was. So it was a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest.
What is your go-to game? What are you playing? Or what do you generally?
At the moment, I'm playing UFC 3.
Nice.
Like I watched the Conor McGregor documentary when I was recovering, and I thought, I fancy playing a bit of UFC, so I started that. But it was DayZ. DayZ was the game for a while where I was playing, but it's always been your FIFAs and your Call of Duties. But I am terrible on COD, so you won't see me playing COD and be happy with it.
Yeah, you're not the only one, mate. Yeah, to be fair, like it's normally a pick up and play game because I haven't got the time to sit there and dedicate. You know, I see people like playing Fallout and like Oblivion. I haven't got the time to sit there and dedicate 6 hours to like gaming and stuff like that. It's just it's not possible. So I'll normally have like a couple of games on FIFA a night or something. But like
that's it, innit? And the thing is, with those strategy games as well, you think to yourself, "I'm going to have an hour on this," and then you look and 4 hours have passed, and you're like, "Shit, I'm only on the second level as well, so I haven't even got very far." Like, this is a long, hefty game. The last long, hefty game that I played was, I think it was Red Dead Redemption 2 was the last one that I played through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't do it. I haven't got the attention span. And every time I'm playing games now, I always think what I could be doing creative-wise that I could actually put out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a hindrance. You know, your mind's still going about what you should be doing. Really, you should.
Guilty. Shouldn't be playing this. You should be doing something else.
That's exactly it. Well, let's get into the music then, because, like I say, you've got a career. Like, looking at the time span that you've been about, you've got a career. And if we go straight back to the beginning, I want to know where it all started for you, where the inspiration came from to start picking up a pen and writing. And I want to know what was the love affair? Where did it start?
I think in school, I was always terrible at maths and I was pretty good at English. And my teachers always said, your poetry's, you're good at rhyming words. And I got to like year 11 and I didn't do like the best in school, but I really, really liked rhyming words. And then when I left school, I'd done nothing to do with music. I didn't write any poems. I didn't do anything. And then I think I started listening more to like hip hop and everything as I got a little bit older. And then like I'll quote a line off the new album. I say that one of the first lines of a song called Then and Now is something along the lines of, I've been doing this so long, I was 13 with my best mate in his nan's house. Poundland Mike, Microsoft Words, that's how and so it all went from us just trying to be the people who we watched doing it, really. And then it gradually went to a madness where I thought, I don't want to just keep doing this as like as a jokey thing. I want to start taking it serious. But I didn't get into music through rap. Like when I started like trying, getting my face out there, it wasn't rap, it was beatboxing. That's how I originally ended up meeting with certain people, because of I went as a support act to be a beatboxer, but I could rap.
Yeah, fair dues. Do you still participate in any beatboxing, or is that just sort of pushed to the side now?
I think I will a bit more now with Bard Picasso, because it's a lot easier to maintain a hip hop beat than the beats. I always try to learn songs, so like the melodies and stuff within the beats as well. But me and my friend we auditioned for the second ever Britain's Got Talent. And we thought we went to the audition and we thought that we were going to be meeting Simon Cowell and the proper judges, and it was just 3 nobodies sat there, and it all went to shit anyway. So basically everything that we'd done together we could have done on our own, but we just wanted the support from the other person. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't get through. And to be fair, I'm kind of glad we did it. I don't think we would have went back, because we were that nervous the first time. It's like, nah, it's not for me, man.
I can imagine. So going from that then, and I always ask this question: were you ever met with skepticism when people started to know that Brighty did music? Were you ever met with any sort of skepticism from, I don't know, close friends or just people in general?
I had hardly any support from my best mates. 2 seconds. I've just had a reminder on my phone saying your computer will restart. From my computer saying it'll restart in a minute. That can't happen. So I had a lot of as a group of boys, my best mates. It's banter all the time. So it was always you just want to be rapper, and all this. But it was all in the spirit. To them, it was all in the spirit of fun. But for me, it was like, I really want to take this serious, like. As I got a little bit older, my one mate said to me, and I always remember this, we both were walking back from a night out, and I think I was like 18. I wasn't working or anything like that. And he said, if you want to take this seriously, you need a job because you can't fund this. And I was like really naive, and I was like, no, I don't. I thought the world owed me a living because I was young and stupid, and that's always stuck with me. And I don't think he realizes how much that stuck with me. So for me, then straight away, it was, you need to work. You need to continue working because working is your priority, and your music has to take second step always. And it always will. And it still does now. I get up in the morning, I go to work. I can't just think, oh, I'm not going to bother going to work. I'm going to do music because, work puts the roof over your head, as you know, as everyone knows. So, yeah, there was a lot of piss taking, not just from my group of mates, the ones it was all in the spirit of good fun. I'd have banter back. It didn't affect me, but it was the other people outside of my group of friends where I was like, okay, this is a bit mad now. Like, I don't like this feeling. And then it made me feel more vulnerable to release music because I felt like they were picking up on what I was saying in songs.
Yeah.
And then taking the piss. And it's not a nice feeling having people take the piss out of you. But
not in any elements at all. Harping back to what you said about, I think Killer Mike said, like, don't be ashamed to be working and pursuing music, because you have to fund that side of things, because it's not just gonna fall from the sky and you're gonna have it, but no, 100%. Doing the groundwork and setting yourself up to then go and achieve music, that's but it's weird, because sometimes you get the other side of, right, I'm just going to drop everything and it's going to be music. It's going to be music.
Worked for some people.
Yeah, and you can definitely appreciate sort of both sides. But yeah, so going from that then, so how did you then integrate, like we said, Newport, the scene of Newport, like there's such a history to it. Looking back, I did it with Eton, and I've done it with you, where I've seen so many faces from years back. So how did you then become integrated into the Newport scene? When did you start meeting those faces that you would essentially?
I remember watching Smokey's TV. Rest in peace, Smokey. He's done. We've spoken endlessly on my podcast. Every time anyone from Newport mentions, the start of it, from the start, as far as I'm aware, it's always been that channel. I watched a few, and and it was the Devious Crew Pop was like the song, and the No Fear Man's one as well, the response or whatever it was. I heard those two, and I didn't realize they were from Newport. And then when someone told me, I was like, "What? There's people are in around here that does this." And then I was watching the battles, the clashes, the car park clashes, and I was like, I could fucking do that. Like I could do that, but I'd never had the confidence. And then it wasn't even a case of, I didn't realize how much they were actually ripping into each other. I thought it was just rapping about yourself, and then you're doing kind of little subliminals that could be at anyone, like most of my music now. I drop little lines in there, people think, is that about me or whatever. So then this was Bebo times. I was speaking to D Shay, who was in YTM at the time, and he said, "Oh, do you wanna?" I said, "Oh, can I'm a beatboxer. Do you need any, can I come and beatbox at one of your shows?" And he said, "Oh, we got an album launch party. Do you want to come down and do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right then." And this was probably one of the first times I'd ever been to Newport. I was terrified of Newport because I lived, I grew up in Cumbrawn. Everyone mentioned Pill, and I was like, I'll never go into Pill, because the stories growing up is like Pill's just the worst place in the world. And I turned up to, I think it was in Revolution in Newport, and I beatboxed, and then everyone started rapping over the mic, and then someone said, "Oh, can you spit?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." So then I did, and then I kind of just ended up in that group because I rapped at that night. But I went into beatbox. I learned to beatbox. I was confident. Not many people could do it, and it was just a way of showing off a skill that not many people could do. And then completely ended up turning it around and then joining YTM at the time. That were more, the music was a lot more American type of based. Then there was the Newport All Stars then, so there was a little rivalry between us and Newport All Stars. even though we all mutually respected each other, I think we all knew that deep down we all rated each other and we all liked each other. But when it come to, you know, being on camera and stuff, we all kind of all played up to it. There was like a massive, we're massive, but it was like, oh, they don't like each other because they're two different crews. Like, yeah. And then YTM turned into YTU13, and that's when Soldier come down from London, and him and D were like the main people. There was so many people joined that group. Like DJ Lee was our DJ. Fatal was in the group. Super Darkers, Smirks, D's brother Jack. It was Darker Man was in the group. There was so I can't even think of how many. It was just people coming in and out all the time. And obviously we had Flowdem that were our younger group, which was Mace, Anton, Little C, Ray as well. Trax and Benji were part of YTU at one point. It was just mad how it was, and to see how far everyone's gone. And then obviously you had the Newport All Stars, which was, as I can remember, there was probably a lot more people in, so don't quote me on this. But I always remember Merkage, Fernquest, Yagster, Binky being the Newport All Stars. So it was just a mad time it was a mad time for me to not have a job, not have any money, and not be able to fund anything I wanted to do.
At the same time, though, I mean, knowing that is going on around you, that's got to like put some hunger in you as well. Like say, there's an element of competition between sort of both sides, sort of thing. That's got to like keep that hunger going. Like you've got to consistently keep on your game and keep at it. Because that problem. Go on,
sorry, bro.
That's one thing that I've like noticed watching all the sort of, because it's heavily documented as well. Like I've been watching tons of YouTube videos today and freestyles and like it just talking segments and what have you of like of that scene, and it's so it's almost sort of like Channel U times, and like it's just people talking into bloody mobile phones, but they're all doing their thing as well, like, you know, showcasing so much talent as well, and it's incredible. And even as far back as then, like you are so consistent with what you are bringing to the table, like. And it's like, I don't mean it as any slight, but you have improved, of course, but you're almost on par with how good you were then to how good you are now. Like it's incredible, the flows and the delivery of it. Like your delivery is like so good across the board. Like it's incredible to watch all that back and go, bloody hell, that's the same person. Because normally you see that progression from the early days to now, but with you, it's just so consistent. It's unreal.
Oh, bro, it's mad. It's mad you say that, because obviously, for me, listening back to some of my stuff, I cringe so bad. And the music videos where I'm dressed in, like, I'm literally in a lot of them, I'm dressed in like D's hand-me-downs. Like it's his clothes that he just said, I'll wear this. Because I said I had no money. My problem was going back to the hunger of back then. Because I didn't have a job and I didn't have money to fund studio, I had to rely on features. So if someone went to the studio and they wanted me to jump on the song, that's the only time you'd really hear me in the studio, is if I was a feature on a song, because I couldn't afford to do it myself. Yeah. And I don't know how it took me so long for the penny to drop and be like, fucking hell, Bright, you need to work, because you know, if you want to be this consistent person, I probably would have been a lot more consistent if I had a job to start with. But then would I have been in as many of those videos? Because a lot of them were shot daytime, midweek. I would have been in work. So it's the rough with the smooth type of thing.
Yeah, it's a catch-22, and it's you know, it's being dedicated, but then being level-headed as well, and going, well, actually, I do need to sort of put food in my mouth and keep a roof over my head. But yeah, so like I say, that was like, you know, well, a lot of them are like 11, 10, 9 years ago now. And like just going through it, I even had a dig through your SoundCloud as well.
I didn't even know what's on there.
Well, there's tracks on there. I think, what was the last track on there? There was like a four-way. I think it was you, T-Rev, and two others on there. But like I say, that consistency of how you are as a rapper and as an MC, and how versatile you are as well. Because like you go from grime to like hip hop, like old school, rapping on hip hop old school hip hop beats like it's nothing. Like
I find that when I first started, it was always grime. Like I was, even when it was YTM with, I said, very American hip hop, old school. I couldn't rap over those beats because I grew up. The main reason, my main inspiration was MC Vapor. So for him to be on the intro track to Blank Canvas, it was massive for me. And me and him had a little falling out over that because I named it wrong and I said that he was a feature, not an interlude or whatever. I didn't know what I was doing. But I couldn't rap on hip hop for a long time. I really, really struggled. I thought I struggled. People were like, oh yeah, it sounds sick. But I was so used to, I didn't like how I sound, my voice. So it took a very long time for me to, that's why the flows are always there. Because if the flow's there, I think that people pick up more on the flow than the actual tone of my voice. Yeah. And then when the Fire in the Booth started, your K Cokes, your Benny Banks, the first ones, when it was UK hip hop, I started kind of mimicking their flows a little bit, and then eventually I started just making a lot more hip hop because I wanted my music to be a bit more commercial. And then obviously the whole singing thing, it's weird. It's so strange that I say this, and I've said it to loads of people. Like the whole reason why I make singing hooks is my mum. Like she literally said, "You can rap. You can rap. People don't give a shit about the verses. They care about the hooks. Like, if you're trying to make popular music, people only remember your melodies and your hooks. No one's going to remember the fourth line in the 16 bar in the first verse." So I was like, you've got a point there. and my mum has no musical talent. She just got a good ear for music. She's always listened to all the music I grew up listening to. I love. And then the first ever song I really sang on was Suicide Note. And that's proved the point that she was right.
That says it all, to be fair. That says it all. Yeah, we'll get to Suicide Note a little bit later on. What, out of pure, what were you listening to growing up? Like, if it weren't hip-hop, what were you listening to?
I didn't listen to hip-hop until... I remember I had the first hip-hop tape I had was Eminem, The Way I Am, the single. I was a massive Spice Girls fan, huge. Spice Girls, I had literally posters everywhere. I didn't fancy any. I was too young to fancy them. I just loved how catchy the music was. Like growing up in my house, if it wasn't me listening to the Spice Girls and Boyzone, and because that's what I grew up listening to, chart music. Yeah. Until I was about 9, 10, 11, then it was like, it's kind of started going to rap. And when I started getting my hands on tapes that had parental guidance, I thought I was amazing. I was like, they're swearing on this, and I'm going to listen to it with my headphones in so my mum can't hear it. But in the house that I always remember, Sunday was my mum's ironing day. You'd walk through in the living room, and there was M People playing. There was Beautiful South. My dad's plays acoustic guitar. He listens to a lot of acoustic music. Eric Clapton, Neil Young, John Martin. A hell of a lot of really old school, but I grew up listening to that. My mum, Michael Jackson, Prince, whatever. Yeah. So I've always wanted to sing over rap, but I never had the confidence or the technology to make me sound better than I could sing. Because there's no secret. I'm not an amazing singer. I just know how to make it sound good now from the technology that's there. But yeah, I didn't listen to rap until I was about... I hate when people say, I was 2 and I was listening to... and you weren't, though, were you? Because how can you remember that far back? I was probably... I remember going into comp and listening to the Eminem show. And the first one I obviously was the Marshall Mathers LP1, was the first ever hip-hop album that I listened to.
Yeah. Yeah, like, to be fair, like, Backstreet Boys were, they were my boys when I was a little younger.
Yeah, they were the ones.
Yeah, and, like, my parents the same. My mum was, Lighthouse People, Beautiful, so all that lot.
Yeah.
And, like, my dad was, like, heavy into, like, AC/DC, Queen, like, even to this day, he's got the Queen CD in the car, like. So, yeah. And then, like, say, hip-hop came later down the line. I remember, like, my story is I remember hearing Purple Hills on the radio. Yeah. And I was like, wow, what is this?
What is this madness?
Yeah, I was still very much like, I had the heavy R&B phase. Like I was proper into like R&B and soul and what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, then like got delved into hip hop a lot, but it was the commercial sounding hip hop. It wasn't until I'd probably say the last maybe 10 years that I started delving like proper deep into hip hop.
But we were listening to what was put in front of us because, you know, on the radio, we weren't hearing, you know, these tracks on rap albums, because unless it was radio friendly, we would never hear them because we didn't know at that age. I'm not going to sit there and be like, I don't know who these people are, the people who I listen to now, because we didn't have the internet. And if we did, it was for MSN. Like I didn't know who these people were. I said I had a very, very heavy stage of like old school garage.
Yeah.
And it was the first real UK music that I listened to that was a bit urban. And I always remembered So Solid Crew, 21 Seconds playing at a school disco. And I was like, this is mad. And I felt so good that I knew every word. It was like, it was good, you know, really good time. But now I'm not a massive fan of garage anymore.
Yeah.
But I, you know, my musical tastes vary, and you know, from what I said that my parents listen to, the only music I can't really listen to is really, really heavy metal. But I do like System of a Down as well. Like,
yeah. No, it's weird, isn't it? And like, I think that's where like music channels did like a lot for people, like especially when it came to like the hip hop and grime side of things, like you and stuff like that were big for opening eyes to like the UK scene as a whole, but just to how much sort of underground stuff there was. Because like I know that you know, some of the people that I saw on there, you know, I still listen to now. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I say, what the internet helps you to do. And like I remember going through like what was it called? Is it LimeWire? Like I remember going through stuff like that, and every day downloading new music. But it was generally the tunes that you'd hear on the radio. You
should search for what you knew. Did you ever, how many times did you download something where you thought it was something else and it was Bill Clinton's allegation I did not have sexual relations with that on LimeWire every time?
Yeah, that happened plenty of times.
I was like, oh, this is the new album, or this is the new single from blah blah blah. Can't wait to listen to it. You click it. I did not. Oh, fuck off.
Like King Mavers albums, like every time you'd go, like there was talk about King Mavers, and you'd get on LimeWire and be like, oh, it's leaked, and it's that.
It's that thing.
It's something else completely different.
And they used to trick us as well, because obviously, as you got a little bit older, you started to look at how big the file was, and you were like, oh, well, now I know that that's that. But they'd make it longer. So the file was bigger, and it was the same fucking thing.
They just repeat it. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was a minefield back in the day. It was people leave.
I remember Bearshare as well. There was Bearshare, LimeWire, and there was a couple of other ones. And obviously, it went all torrents and mad then.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I started paying for stuff then because I was fed up.
Yeah, I remember like the first album I ever bought. It was G Unit Beg for Mercy. I think that was the first one. But I remember buying Soulja Boy because I'd heard it on the radio and thought, this is the greatest thing in the world. Seen all the videos and what have you. And like, but that, like you say, that is what you are exposed to at that point. You haven't got access to digging into like bloody archives, unless you're going into like places like HMV back in the day, and you're
they'd have their old school corners of the hip hop and stuff.
Through stuff, you're not exposed to it like that. But I suppose, you know, as you do get older, you're able to form your own taste and what have you. I've got horrible taste. It's hip hop, and like that's about it. To be fair.
Oh, bro, if you listen to one of my playlists, like it's a career ender for me. Like there's music that I listen to, and people would be like, what are you doing? Like, I'd never thought you'd listen to this stuff. There's mad music on there. But I said I have random times of the day and evening where I listen to different stuff. And, you know, my missus said to me, you've always got your headphones in. Like, even when if I leave this room now, I've got my phone headphones in, I'm listening to something on Spotify. And she's like, can't you, like, walk down and have a fag without listening to music or listening to a podcast? It's like, no, because it makes me feel like if I go to the shop, I need something in my ear. I need to listen to something. I don't want to listen to some old woman talking about some her husband's bunions. Like I want to just listen to music.
Yeah. What's your favorite guilty pleasure then? What would?
Oh, it's bad, isn't it? Because Justin Bieber's album Purpose, for me, was his best. I say his best album. I haven't listened to much more, but that album I did play quite a lot. But this random, I don't even know what I want to say.
To be fair, like hand on heart, like there's a couple of Katy Perry songs that fucking like
bangers, isn't they? They're just bangers. Oh, I tell you what, there's 2 Taylor Swift songs that I think are amazing, and Bad Blood is one of them. And I knew you were trouble when you walked in. That's a banger. But that's what I mean. And then I've got the cheek to rap on a track saying I'm the best.
It's such polar opposite.
Yeah, it's so different, isn't it? But you know,
guilty pleasures. Shakespeare's Sister, Stay, like, is an absolute classic.
Yeah, you've got
these, but they do, and like I think they've definitely they feed into that inspiration as well, and I think that's where like you are in terms of your artistry now. Like say you've got tracks like Suicide Note, Bottled Up. Your albums are just like looking at the projects that you've made. Blank Canvas, 12 a.m. early mornings, and then I'm fairly sure that Transformation will be exactly the same. But yeah, there's such well-rounded and diverse listens. Like I've had them on today again, and yeah they're so well-rounded. But yeah, taking it back a little bit. So like you know, we had the Y2U13, Y2U13 stuff. Between sort of, so if correct me if I've got my timeline wrong, but between sort of 2013, 2016, 17, there seems to be a little bit missing.
Yeah,
there seems to be a bit of a lull.
That was when I had a moment of, I wouldn't say I can't be asked to do this anymore. I had a new girlfriend. I had a new job. And it was the first time I really enjoyed a job that I was doing. So I just kind of thought like I'm gonna focus on getting money, focus on doing it and whatever. I didn't have a mode of transport to come back and forth, and I hate buses. So it was just like a case of it kind of got pushed away, but not intentionally. And the thing that sparked it back up is me and my ex split up, and then I released a song that no one's ever, well, a few people have heard it, but I took it off iTunes straight away. It was a song called Crazy For You, just talking about my ex, and about a couple of months later, I was like, why am I, like, I don't even know why I wrote that song, so I never felt like that, like, so I took it down, and that was kind of the push then to just get back into it. So it was you came back,
so I think Suicide Note would have been Blank Canvas, like
was the comeback.
Yeah, and
yeah,
like say, as a project, listening, it's one of, you know, a project that I can listen to start to finish and just not skip anything.
I'm glad you can, bro, because I can't anymore.
I always find, you know, value in that. If you can listen to a project like start to finish, like, you know, that's, you know, it's a brilliant project.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, because it was. I still to this day it's not mastered properly, because I recorded all that in Jamie Winchester.
Yeah.
And I was that in a rush. He sent me all the mixes, and I thought I mastered them myself by turning them all up and put it out. So Jamie, if you ever watch this, mate, I know I did a boo-boo, and I'm sorry. Because obviously, you know, at the end of the day, Jamie's was the one who mixed and mastered that, and it would have been different had I had waited. But I wanted to get it out, and it did do the best of all of them so far. You know, I got to number 37 in the rap hip hop charts, iTunes charts, and I was like, people kept sending me screenshots throughout the day, and it just kept going higher, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? But it was a lot of that was to do because I didn't, for the first 6 months to a year, I didn't make any money off it. It all went to charity. That was I didn't want the money. I just because it was around the time that my nan died of cancer. No, sorry, my nan had cancer, but she died of a heart attack. But she had cancer, and it was contributing. And I wanted to put all the money to cancer research. So I said I'm not going to take anything for X amount of time. I can't remember how long I didn't take anything for, but I said to Dale actually on Friday when we finished the live, I said to him, it's frustrating for me, that is, because I'll never know how legit I was in that level, in that chart, because were people buying it for the cancer, because all the money was going to cancer research, or were people buying it because they were supporting me? If they were doing both, brilliant, but I'll never know. So, but then 12 a.m. come out and it was kind of a similar response. So I kind of took from that, and there is support there then.
Yeah, I think you can definitely, take that and go, people enjoyed it. I mean, like I looked at the counts earlier on. I never look at something and go, oh, people are listening to it, it's popular or whatever. But the counts are there on Spotify. And I looked at the counts and, like, obviously it's very listened to, the Black Canvas project. So, yeah, I think people enjoyed the music, but as well as you did a very noble thing at the same. So I think you can definitely take that, that's an achievement, definitely. And like
I've got to, before we move on, I've got to tell you something that only one person noticed. So on the intro track of Blank Canvas, it was called Blank Canvas.
Right.
I uploaded it on TuneCore and it's now corrected, but the intro track was actually called Black Canvas. I spelled it wrong, and only one person noticed. I didn't even notice. I didn't even realise for a year and a half. My mate messaged me one day. He said, "Were you meant to call the first song Black Canvas?" And I went, "No, it was meant to be blank." He said, "Have a look on Spotify." I looked. I was like, "Oh my god!" So when I put it back on I sent it over to distro instead of TuneCore, because TuneCore was charging a stupid amount to keep it on there. I changed it then, and I was like, "Thank God for that." But yeah, I didn't even realize I named it wrong.
There's that element of like rushing to get stuff done, sort of like gone now. Are you a bit more sort of right? I'll take my time to work on something. I
am, but with the second single, because obviously the first single's out on the 28th of May for Transformation, the first one, but the second one I've uploaded as well. And I didn't realise until I listened back. Now, it had been sent to distro and went to Spotify, ready to go. It's not going to be out until the end of June, this one. I sent it to someone for a potential music video for it. Downloaded it on my phone to have a listen when I went, because I said I walked around listening to it with my headphones. I went downstairs, I rolled the fag, I was listening to it, and I just heard a massive pop at the end of the song.
Oh, no.
And I was like, that weren't there originally. So I took it off, I come straight back up, sorted the pop out, and sent it back up. So there are a couple of times that I have, I give myself more than enough time to make sure this is right this time.
Yeah.
I've just got to be a bit more thorough with it. But the thing is, I've written so many, it's the most songs I've written in a short space of time. I don't know how, it's the first time it's happened. Usually I write 3 or 4 songs and I'm like, I won't write nothing now for a couple of weeks. But consistently every day, just different songs, different styles. It just kept happening and happening. So everything seems to just be there in one go. So I think I am probably going to make a couple more boo-boos, but...
we all do. So talking about your writing process, like what's that like? Because like you just said that, you'll write 3 or 4 songs and then sort of leave it, sort of thing. How do you keep up that momentum, and how do you keep inspired? Like what inspires you on a day-to-day basis to continue writing?
I think the writing process, to start with, I was speaking to D.W. Smith the other day because he's going to be a feature on one of the songs on the album. And I sent him over like a rough version or a rough half of my verse to the track that we were doing. And he said, "Oh, it sounds really good, blah, blah, blah." And then he said, and he asked me about, like, because I said to him, I record half of it. If it sounds dead, I'll delete it and I'll rewrite it. So having the studio at the disposal to hear it back is the way that is my process. I listen to everything halfway through. So I will never finish a verse. You will never see me finish a verse and then record the whole thing. I'll write half of it, record it. If it sounds shite, because I got like a preset of my half a verse that I listen to, I'll delete it and scrap the verse. So hearing it back is my process of doing that. And even sometimes I very rarely will write a whole. You'll very rarely hear me say I've written a whole verse, I've recorded it all, I like it. I will always have that listen back to.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Like, yeah, I think, like, obviously people have varying processes and what have you. Like mine did. Like, well, it takes me about 6 months to fucking write anything. But like, you know, I'm very picky with what I write as well. You know, There's got to be purpose, and I think for you especially, some of the themes that you talk about, and this is where we get into Suicide Note and tracks like Bottled Up and stuff like that. It's important for those tracks to exist. It's also important to talk about it outright. So Suicide Note, it is there, you know, weight behind that. Is that an experience that you've had? Is that an experience? It
was an experience that I had, but the experience I had was like, if I come out in 2000, that was an experience I had 6 years before. So when I wrote that song, my mum, I always get her approval. Well, I don't anymore because I don't live with her. But when I lived with her, I'd say, "Listen, what do you think of this? It's a rough verse." And she straight away, she was like, "Are you all right?" Because she heard, you know, I didn't have the chorus at this point. It was just the verses. And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And she said, "Oh, because of what you're talking about in this song." Because I didn't know what it was going to be called at this point. I just knew that as I was writing it, it was going to be something to do with writing a suicide note, and then I just ended up going with what it was. And she said, "Are you sure you're all right?" And I said, "Yeah." And then at that moment, I realised I can put myself in a certain mind frame to write a song, and then as soon as I leave that room, I snap out of it. And it's happened with a few songs, like the You, Me and Her song that I done about, you know, the different perspectives of what's happened in my personal life. After I write it, it's done, and I'm back to my normal self, which I think is, for myself to even think it is crazy that I can do that, because you'd think that revisiting the shit that you've gone through, writing about it, would kind of give you need a couple of hours to kind of process it and remember, because you're starting to remember.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's down, it's like I've written my little diary of it now, and now I no longer need to revisit it. And there's a lot of the sad songs I don't go back to and listen to much, because it's done.
It's out your system. It's out your system.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And there's a song on the new album called Cutting Deeper, and it's the first time I've revisited something that's happened over the last few years. And I've pre-warned my mum that she might get a little bit upset with it about it. Not about it, but the words and what it's about. But I needed to do that because I didn't grieve properly, like at all. I let things, I push stuff to one side and I don't think about it. So for that, I was like, right, I've done that, and I showed Kenny it, and Kenny was like, "But you needed to do that, because now I bet you feel better that you've got that out, because it's me apologizing for certain things and talking about." I'm not going to go too much into it, because that song is one of my favorites on the album. Yeah, it's mad. It's
yeah. No, I like, you know, that's my sort of go-to music, that I listen to sad music because, yeah, just because. But no, I can definitely appreciate people putting their actual heart and soul into you know, into music, and maybe talking about something that, you know, generally they'd keep private, but putting that in the public space and letting the people hear it. I definitely appreciate that, and I appreciate people being so open about situations that they, you know, might have been in and what have you as well. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you sharing that. You know, I could bang on about how it's important that we do, you know, we talk about these things.
Those like the sad songs, after I released them, I had mad anxiety, because I felt like people, even strangers that I didn't know more about my life than I know about theirs, and it made me feel like people had the upper hand of me. And then then I started getting messages from people from different countries saying this song saved my life and stuff. And I'm like, that's mad, because I mentioned my son's name in there. I've mentioned this, I mentioned that, about just my everyday, like, you know, what was going on back then. And you can relate to it.
Yeah.
And I never, with the sad songs, I never write to it. I never think I'm going to write a song because I know it'll relate to people. I just write it and hope it does. And if it does, it does. If it don't, it's everything that I document and every song that comes out, even if it's a really angry track or I'm banging on about I think I'm the best or whatever, you know, it's all just a big diary of just thoughts and feelings, really. That's literally it. It's just everything that's going on in my head. I'm going to put it over a beat. If you relate, you do. If you don't, you don't. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you do. Happy days. I'm easiest. I've stopped making music for others, and I do it for me now. And if it benefits them, I'm so happy that it does. But if it don't, I can't make something for you. I've got to write it for me.
No, I understand that. But you know, that's the power in it. You know, in being able to make something that might help someone else. You know, that's a gift. But moving on to lighter topics, you've got one of the largest sort of catalogue of features. Like you've worked with so many artists from top to bottom of Wales, from England, across the pond. You've done tracks with people like S, you've done tracks with people like Dynamic, and if we look at the people in the Welsh scene that you've done tracks with, Formless, Livewire, Eaton, the list goes on and on. You come across as someone that seems incredibly open to working with acts from here and there. Is that something that you feel like it is needed to sort of, I mean, when we talk about the Welsh scene, to elevate the Welsh scene, do you think it's needed in that respect? Do you think that we need to be working a bit better to sort of get to higher places?
I think so. I think that the problem I think that we've all got is, as fan bases grow, you start feeling like, and this isn't me, but I know a few people that feel like this. If their fan bases grow to a point where you're helping someone else, they're leeching off what you've done or off your name, and it's happened a few times when people have, MC Vapor said to me I was leeching off his name, and because of I put down he was a feature and I didn't realize, and I think it's so important, but at the same time, you're only as good as the worst person on the song. So if you don't rate someone, or if say for instance, right, Dave, me and you didn't like each other at all, but I knew you could rap and you were sick, I would be like, let's do this work. Like, I don't care about like people's past or whether I think they're a twat. Like, I'll work with any, if I rate you, and it's the same with anyone. If you rate the person who wants to do a song with you, then that'll be days. But there's ways to word putting people down and saying, I don't want to, nah, bro, I'm like, I've said a couple of times that I'm really busy. It's genuine. Like, I'm not saying I'm really busy, it's never going to happen. But there are certain people who I would like to work with in the future that are up and coming that I don't think have hit nowhere near their potential. But hopefully they would take the advice and have us help them and just say, oh, try it this way or do that or do this. Yeah,
that feedback element is incredibly important. And constructive criticism, not just turning around and telling someone that's shit, go and do it again. Like, there's got to be an element of, right, do this different or do that better, or there's no
that's sick. The opposite, because I always find that, and I've said it no end, I appreciate every comment, but if I upload a track and I get 60 comments of fire emojis, that's not giving me no indication of how to improve that or me. And you're never going to improve. If everyone just says that you're amazing, how are you ever going to progress? Because you think you're amazing, you don't need to do anymore. So it's the same for us. Even the us lot that keep getting the praise and the compliments, it's fine. But I want you to tell me that you don't like that, because I struggled. Fussell is very, very honest. And when he started telling me that he didn't like this and he didn't like that, I felt obligated to change it because one person said it. But he said, you don't have to change it. It's just not my cup of tea, or I think you could do that better. And there has been words and songs, especially with the Early Mornings EP, that he said, I think you should change that word or whatever. It's beneficial. It's made the track sound better. It's made me listen back to it and think, yeah, you were fucking right there.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce that certain word, so I'll say it differently, or I'll say a different word. So it's the same for us as the up-and-comers. You need to have constructive criticism, bro, because if someone, like you said, says you're shit or says you're amazing, the shit person's going to just give up, and the amazing person is just going to keep consistently being amazing and never improve or try anything new.
Yeah, definitely. What would be your one piece of advice for the newcomers? For because they're coming out of the woodwork now. There's a lot of new faces about. What would be your one piece of advice?
Stop doing drill music. No, I'm joking. Nah, I think make sure you have an identity is the main thing, so people know you as you. And you need to. There's more than one bit of advice, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's you need to be a likable person, because if you're using social media as your main platform, and I've done it in the past where I've come across as a right knob, where I've been angry, and I've tried to stop putting angry statuses now because it doesn't do me any favors. And I'm not like that. And being consistent is another thing. Being likable, and don't send people videos with just the link. That's the worst. You need to build a rapport with your fan base. And if someone just says, "Oh, yo, new song, check it out," I have never checked out a new song unless it's from someone that I actually know that don't need to. If Cherry sends me a link, I'll listen to it. If Formless does, or the people who I surround myself, anyone in Bard Picasso, I'll just go and listen to it. But if you're just a random person that just has been on my Facebook for 5 minutes after me accepting a friend request and just sends me new tune, I'm not listening to it. Like, because you haven't, even if it just said, "Oh yes, Brighty, I've heard your music before, mate. Would you mind checking this out?" I'm going to be more inclined to listen to it. And there's so much more.
There's a way, isn't there?
Of getting people's attention.
You brought up Fussell. Can we expect a return of the podcast? Like, can we see that coming back?
We spoke about it. We were going to. I think we had a really, really brief conversation about maybe doing it like this, like through Zoom, because we've got like similar setups. Me and Fussell have. But nothing kind of materialized from it. And the problem was, because it was, and Fussell will openly say this, because it was like my name on the podcast and he was like my co-host, I think I was expecting a bit too much from him, because I was saying, "Oh, can you do a bit of research and we'll do this and do that?" But really, it was my podcast, so I should have been doing that. I'm hoping we start it back up. But I don't know, because one thing that we found after 23 episodes of talking about the same people, and don't get me wrong, I love the majority of the people we spoke about, but when you hear the same names week in, week out, there's not much more we could say about it. We couldn't big them up anymore, because obviously we were doing the 8 aside and there was a lot of the same names in the 8 aside. We found ourselves repeating a lot of what we'd already said the week before. So if you notice, they're all down now. They'll come back up when I start paying again, but I ain't going to pay for a really long gap. If you notice, we started the last 2 with just me and Fussell trying something different.
Yeah,
it didn't really work, because we were trying to we were trying loads of new things, and I don't think he wants to be involved in the scene as much. If you notice, he's been quite quiet.
Yeah.
And I don't think I want to be that much regarding the podcast type of hosting, because I almost felt like people at one point forgot that I was an artist and I was just someone to go on a podcast with, and I started to feel like I didn't want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. You want to be Well, in a way, you want to be one of those people on those podcasts rather than the outlet sort of thing, which, is, 100%. I found each one entertaining. The Look on the Bright, I thought they were great.
I love them. They were really fun to do, and it was kind of a nice. Every Thursday we'd have someone over, and then I'd have from Thursday to Saturday evening to edit it. There weren't many that I had to edit like that. I think Cudgy's was the only one of the only ones where I said to him, Cudge, you said a lot of shit on this, bro. Like, you're pissed. I'll ring you tomorrow. Let me know if you want me to take anything out. I rang him the day after and he went, keep everything in. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. So, there was bits where even like me and Fussell cocked up because we was trying to make it as, as thingy as we could. But there was certain parts that like even I would say something and I'd be like, I can't say that. Like, you can't put that in it. Like, I'd have a slip of the tongue and just say something really stupid, or just there was no need to say that or whatever. But yeah, I'm hoping in the future it might not be with Fussell. It might be with someone else. It might. I wanted to do it on my own, but because that way you don't have to rely on anyone, do you? That's why I got the studio.
Yeah.
But unless I had a guest on every week. If we cut the screen in half now and you're not there, you're just looking at my head for 2 hours. No one's gonna want to listen to me just rabbit on about shit.
It's a pretty head. So we might do it. We might do it.
We look like we've dressed the same purposely for today as well. We're both in black hats, black hoodies.
I haven't. Genuinely, I was supposed to. My Larynx hoodies in the wash. So what can you do? But yeah, going back to the collaborations, and is there anyone that you haven't worked with at the moment in the Welsh scene that you'd like to work with?
Obviously, I've worked with with the one person, but it was so long ago. Like, it was when we'd done so much better, and I'd love to work with Mace. I've been on like the No Games challenge with a lot of artists.
Yeah.
But I haven't done a song directly with them. I would like to work with local, and there's a few females that I'd love to work with as well. Like, I'd love to work with Faith, and at the moment Vision, because he's smashing it like that. Like, for his age, he seems to be at a level where if you couldn't see that he was young, you'd think he was, late 20s.
Yeah.
Confidence and everything as well. So there's a few, but there's also a few collabs I would like to see from other people that I always like the ones that are unexpected.
Yeah.
So like, before I joined Bard Picasso, you would never ever expect me and Dale on the same song.
No.
Like that's coming. I like to take people out of their comfort zones and they take me out of mine. So I would love to see certain people do certain things on songs that I know they're capable of, but they hold back because they don't want to do stuff different.
Yeah.
Where, it's all about changing and challenging yourself. And I could just consistently release music where I'm just rapping constantly. You would get bored of it eventually.
Yeah. You and the listener.
Yeah, I did get bored. I did. That's why I started going down this route, because I thought if I just keep rapping and I do these rap hooks instead of trying to do something melodic or trying to change and trying to better myself, I am going to listen to half of these and they're never going to go out because it's just going to bore the shit out of me. And it started to. At the end of last year, I really looked back and I thought, even though I'm doing a lot of singy stuff, like, the rap ones still are boring me. There's a few rap ones on this album with like rap hooks that I really like, but it's at a minimal. It's got to be for me to want to listen back as a fan, because I try to listen back to my own music as it's not me.
Yeah.
How I would react to it, but I give myself like 2-week gap before the master goes off, and then I'll listen to it like probably the second week, and then if I listen to it and I enjoy it, that's when it'll go up then, because I've got to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, definitely. As we say, Bard Picasso, we've touched on those a couple of times. It's steadily becoming like just out of control. like how many? We touched on it prior to recording. How many is there in there now? 21.
I think it's like, yeah, between 21 and 21 and 23, I want to say, or there's like associated with, where it might not be actually like to the label, but there's that many associated with it, and it's mad.
Oh, like those 21, 22, 23, each one of them like have their weight behind them. You know, everyone's extremely like gifted when it comes to what they're doing.
It's mad.
How have you ended up in that fold? Because, like you say, everyone's got their certain styles and whatnot. And when sort of Bard Picasso were starting, it was like the Blue City guys, the Wolfgang, D.W. Smith, and then sort of you joined, and I went, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I went, that's interesting. You know,
I approached them. I put a post up asking. Well, I put a post up asking for beats for the Transformation album. I had no idea what it was going to be called. I didn't know nothing. And I put a post up, and at this point I was really, really miserable. Like, I was at a point where I was going to take this year off music. Like, and I thought, I just want to focus on me and not do this. But then, Jamie Warburton posted, tagged Jay in it, and said, he's the man for your beats. And I thought, well, I know Jay. Like, I've known him of him for years. We met back when we supported Tiny Tempo, when he was in the Sacred's group, and I was in YTU. And I messaged him and said, I thought, this is my chance now just to ask him what it's all about. And I just said, bro, what's the crack with Bard Picasso? Like, I'm at a standstill with my music. I feel like I want to kind of knock it on the head for now. And he said, oh, it's mainly, we do a lot of boom bap and old school hip hop and all. And I said, bro, can you set up a meeting with Dale? Because I didn't know, obviously, Dale and Nath. I said, can we set up a meeting the same night? I actually recorded a rap verse over a boom bap beat and sent it to Jay and said, can you forward this to Dale and Nath? Dale thought that I was just going to be a grime artist, and then he listened to a bit of my Spotify, and it was completely different to what he was expecting. Yeah. And then we had the Zoom call that night, and then I joined that night, and then obviously joined the madness of the chat then. But that's been so good for mental health, that chat. Yeah, it's been so good just to go in there. We've got our own little weird things that we'll randomly post now. Like, I randomly send a photo of my pork pie every Monday because I have pork pie Monday. Like, we just do random stuff, and it seems to be whatever you want to talk about, there's someone that can relate. And yeah, it's mad. But yeah, I approached it, and because I said I was ready to go. I was ready to just, I think it was, I joined at the end of Feb, and the middle of Feb, I think I just released Leave Me Alone with Live. Yeah. And it didn't do nowhere near anywhere numbers that I was like hoping it would. And it was because I stopped paying for promo, everything just started declining, which I knew it would as well. But that week I thought that it was gonna slowly start coming back up, because I've noticed that as soon as I stopped paying for promo, certain songs have started going on Discover Weekly again. Yeah. So it's like the paid promo was blocking it from actually reaching, because I didn't know how real these listeners were. Yeah. So I had to make a decision and thought, that's why you haven't seen me post anything about streams this year. Yeah. Because it hit me, and I was like, someone put up a post, and then I seen Spotify put something up about these paid promo services. You don't know what you're buying. They're showing you analytics that might not be correct, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, I'm not paying stupid money, but if this is going to affect my Spotify and them take all my music off, I'd rather have people who I know that are real listeners listening rather than me paying for this promo. Don't get me wrong, a few of them could be real. All of them could be real, but I didn't want to take that chance. So I made the decision to just stop paying for it. And then I just seen a massive dip, and it kind of knocked me. And I was like, so I've got like over 8,000 followers on Spotify. and I've released this, and this should go on everyone's release radar. So why have I got just over 100 streams in the first day? Like, and yeah, I don't know why that's not even a bad thing. 100 streams on Spotify is fucking good. But yeah, I was ready I was done, and then I thought, no, I want to continue this journey of making music for me and the people who actually listen to it. And then when with Bard Picasso, I explained the situation, and I said one of my main problems is beats, and then I just got bombarded with like 100 odd beats. So, and that weren't even Owen. He didn't even send me one at that point. So that was all from Dale, Jay, Mr. Substance. I can't remember who else sent me some. It was just I've just got a stupid folder just full of just beats, and I was like, so after I finish this album now, I can just go straight. I'm going to do a boom bap project, so I can just go straight, and then me and Owen are going to do a joint EP as well. Obviously, we got the Broken Axis thing with me, him, and Kenny.
All work. Well, no, I mean, talk about a complete 180. You know, wanting to knock it on the head, and then being surrounded by, like you say, like-minded people motivate you personally and musically. Like, you know, that's brilliant. I'm like, everything that's come out of that camp has been phenomenal. Like D.W. Smith is an absolute monster in pretty much everything he did. Like, to have that creative mind to go and create like a Norse mythology, like, you know, project like that's mad. Because you know, I don't know how you'd get to that place.
He actually told me how he got to that place. He said that he was getting, because I said about like how I was getting bored of just rapping all the time, and he said that he finds that sometimes he gets bored, so he'll just go off on these mad like tangents of just something of different. So anything you hear that's different from the norm is probably just because we're just bored of doing the same thing.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like Akala levels of creativity where you're like, you know, taking like comic books and stuff like that, and then like like, you know, the Blue City Project, just everything out of there has been absolutely nuts, and I'm probably guaranteeing that transformation is going to be in that category as well. I'm
hoping. I've tried to do like a longer promo run, if you know, because I weren't going to put up the artwork until the end of May.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, I'm going to do it because obviously the artwork itself is it's got a black background, and it's the thing. The gimme that is in the smoke, and then the next one is a bit more out of the smoke.
Yeah.
So it's kind of revealing what is the final album type of thing. But I hope that like at this moment in time, there's not one song on there, and this has happened on every song, or every album or EP I've done. There's been one song I weren't sure of, but this is the first time ever I listened to it and I'm like, I really like what I've done with everything so far. So I'm hoping that it just reaches the people it's meant to reach.
Yeah. Well, I can with complete honesty say that, like, you know, listening back to back to each project, like from Blank Canvas to like your Early Mornings EP, which is the most recent release.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the consistency, like they could almost fall into each other. They could, you know, they could almost fall into each other, and you could chop them up whichever way you wanted, tracklist wise, and they'd still be good, you know, and above. And like, I completely expect that, and could almost guarantee that Transformation is going to have that same feel to it. It's going to be well rounded. Like just off the tracks that we've had over the past couple of months, you know, you've had stuff like Flowcabulary, Feel Away, you know, stuff like that. And then obviously I've pre-listened to Gimme That because I get privileges like that.
Bro, it's I'm hoping that as far as like the mixing and mastering side of things, I'm hoping that I've excelled to a level now where this is going to be the best sounding album, because obviously Blank Canvas would have sounded better if I weren't a hasty bastard and I just went and just done something. 12 AM was the first album that I mixed and mastered myself, and I listened back to it, you know, when me and Kenny done that Versus thing the other night. I listened back to Faded. I love Faded, it's one of my favourite songs, but the mix is so shit compared to like what I do now. So I'm hoping that this is the one that is the way people listen and be like, yeah, he's really, really worked on his mixing and mastering as well. Because I've done little online courses and I really, really try to not master the craft, because no one's ever going to master mixing and mastering because everyone's got their own taste and whatever.
Yeah.
But almost, you know, something as stupid as, you know, I've got these headphones, these open back headphones, you know, them. I was recording my vocals with them, and obviously because they're open back, you could hear my, you know, the beat in the background. I bought a £30 pair now, and I use all my things with that. So even that, I'm hoping will make a difference.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can listen back, and I can be, you know, I'm proud of everything that I've ever done music wise, but it's kind of, I suppose it's the journey of listening back to how it's sounding, how it's getting better with the sound of like the crafting, the engineering and all that. That's kind of my goal as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the progression sound wise, I suppose, you know, to put it in a nutshell, yeah, there's that. But I do maintain, you know, one of the most skilled, versatile MCs in the entire country in Wales. You know, I genuinely believe that we're in for a classic Brighty project. You know, I'm going to say that. I think that's how it's going to be.
I don't know what to say, bro. Honestly, I don't. I said, you know, I don't know how to deal with compliments still, and it's something I really should start. But bro, honestly, hand on heart, I really appreciate that.
I get it, man. Touching on the verses that you did with Kenny Caden the other night.
Yeah, smashed him, pussy-o. Not joking.
No, it's great to see that concept brought, you know, and have Welsh. Is there another Welsh artist catalogue that you'd like to sort of put yours up against and see how that fared?
First of all, bro, Kenny has slowly become, which they slowly, it's really quickly happened. He's like one of my best mates. Like we speak every single day. We've got so much in common, and we are so similar in like styles of music. We're both like, we make popular music. It was the perfect. And the thing that I enjoyed about it the most was we didn't, I obviously with my projects and everything he's doing at the moment, we haven't had time to really listen to much of each other's music. So, you know, I went behind his back and had to listen to a few of his songs before we'd done it, and he done the same. And we said we didn't realize I didn't realize how big his catalogue of music was. And he didn't really. He thought that mine. I think he thought that mine stopped at early mornings. Like, so, it was kind of. It's a good way of actually, you know, enjoying the other, because I said to him, you know, there was at no stage of that like battle where we like, yeah, I want to win this. It was just like we're just appreciating each other's music and just enjoying it and having a couple of beers. And but I don't think I will, because, you know, after you've done it once, I think you can't really do it again. Mm-hmm. Because if you would, I think that there's a few people who I'd like to see do one, but we're hoping that it becomes a regular thing. So we're hoping we can get through some of the Bard Picasso lot. We're going to there's going to be a couple of beat ones.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping that it becomes like a Welsh thing, and then maybe even a UK thing, because no one's doing it in the UK, the battles at the moment. But oh man, I would love to, you know, there's some people who have got catalogs, backlog of music that I'd love to see against each other. I can't think off the top of my head, but I was thinking the other night.
I definitely like to see it become like, you know, because like Bard Picasso as a whole, the content that comes out of there, like, you know, got the what is it, Dick and Billy hang out. And all that stuff, you know, it's watchable. You know what I mean? It's I could quite easily sit down and, you know, I don't know, come home from work and be like, right, that's what I'm going to watch tonight. Like, and it is all the content. Shouts to everyone in the Bard Picasso lot. Legends. It's incredible. So before we wrap up, I've lost my note where I usually have these quickfire questions. And I can't remember what they are. So, off the top of my head, who is the greatest of all time in Brighty's opinion?
Eminem.
Okay. Who is your favourite artist in the Welsh scene at the moment?
That's a hard one because it's if we're talking of like again of all time, it would be different to right now. But you said right now, didn't you? It's got to be Kenny at the moment. It's Kenny Cadence. It's got to be. He's releasing music that I listen to as a fan, and there's not many people anymore that I do that with.
Nice.
Yeah, Kenny.
Favorite album of all time?
Take Care, Drake.
Nice. Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna get fucking slated by the Bard Picasso for that.
I'm gonna edit that out. To be fair. Yeah. Okay then. Okay, you throw me off there. No, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think from Drake is you probably be able to hear. I know, obviously, like I do try and sing a bit. I do sing higher than like the tones that he reaches, but the way that he tells stories, I take a lot of inspiration from that, and the way that I try and do it. And every time he releases a new song, bro, I'm so excited. Him, J. Cole. I'm listening to a lot of Roddy Ricch and stuff at the moment, the melodic stuff a bit more. So a lot of the music I listen to is not UK because everything's drill at the moment, bro. And if you listen, I respect the hustle, I respect the movement, but if you hear one drill artist, you've heard them all because they all sound exactly the same. So I've kind of listened. I'm away from the UK for now until drill's dead and grime comes back a bit.
Fair. Yeah, no. To be fair, Drake could be in my head. Drake could be one of the greatest of all time, but like I don't know. There's some things that he does that I'm just not too keen on. Like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know.
I think I know what you mean music wise.
Yeah, like I remember when he did his Link Up TV freestyle, and then the track with was it Heady that he did?
Yeah,
and there's bits in there. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like just yeah.
He could have. I think he could have done. People always say that he's like a culture vulture and he's going and like taking, but I look at it like this. Drake is the biggest artist in the world at the moment. Mm-hmm. Still, even he haven't dropped much, but he's still the biggest artist in the world. He's one of. And if he's going to come and show you love and support you and show the UK love, I don't see how anyone can see it as a bad thing.
No, when he did the Section Boys stuff, when he came out at Section Boy show,
madness.
That got a whole new audience onto.
Yeah, because now Americans are doing reaction videos of UK artists.
Yeah, so it definitely can't be a bad thing because like I watch those stuff like on more like the underground side of it. Like I'm a big fan of Lunacy, and like I watch people reacting to him just for the bar side of things, just to see if they get catch the bars sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's brought a whole new audience to the UK, and hopefully in time that'll filter over into the Welsh scene as well.
Yeah, hopefully it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because like I obviously look at the Welsh scene, and I personally think it'll be like one person to sort of break through like that, and then it'll be sort of the spotlight on people. I hope we're
starting to see it. We're starting to see it slowly with certain artists, which is nice. It's nice to see like people going the everyone seems to be getting stuff in their own way. So you've got like people who are getting like regular radio play. You're getting people who are getting pushed by this bigger artist. You're getting people who are getting YouTube views over here. You're getting people doing Spotify over here. Everyone seems to be slowly creeping up. Rather than one person just fucking off, everyone's kind of just slowly creeping up over the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years. But it's just consistency. If everyone consistently bombards people with new music as a scene and just says, this is what we've got, this is the artist, I keep seeing the same. I say it on the track. There's no surprise that I get a bit cheesed off now and again when I see the same people getting the same opportunities. As an artist, a competitive artist, it is frustrating. I say like big up to those lot, but I'm sick of seeing the same people getting those opportunities, and it's nothing against them. You start questioning you and thinking, what am I doing wrong then? Because if people can relate to my music and people are supporting me, then why am I? It feels like with radio play and stuff, you can send about 12 tracks to radio, bro, and you end up looking back and you're like, why haven't they played any of those? But they played one of the other songs that I think is of mine that's very shit. They didn't play the ones I like.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
I mean, perseverance, like that's always going to be, you know, where I go, you know, perseverance and consistency. But no, like I say, you know, everyone is doing their thing. Yeah, it feels like everyone is doing their thing as well, you know.
Yeah, no one seems to be.
No one's bending to sort of like, you know, if we look at you and then look at Culture Vultures, for example, I love what Culture Vultures do. And they're not bending to sort of fit into a mold or anything like that.
Yeah, we're all doing our own thing differently, and it's good. Like I said, I got nothing against anyone getting the opportunities. I get more frustrated about, like, not because like, oh, I feel that I deserve this more than them. It's never been that. It's always been, how can I push myself then into the right places to get those opportunities? Because it's not the artist that I'm sick of, it's the people who I feel that are overlooking other people, myself included. So, you know, for 1 second, if any artists are watching this, it's not, I'm buzzing you getting these opportunities. I'm just questioning why other people are not that I think deserve them, really. Yeah. No, that's understandable. That was the quickfire section to wrap up. Quickfire session ended up me fucking ranting.
It's been brilliant to chat to you. We've been meaning to do this for a while. Time and what have you gets away from you. But it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Like I say, I think you're one of the most consistent, hard-working, versatile artists that we've got in the scene. And I absolutely appreciate what you do. And I'm really looking forward to the album Transformation, which is coming out
the end of July or the start of August, depending how quick me and Owen can get the rest done.
Well, hurry up because I'm waiting. But no, absolutely shout out to you every time. You know, you've supported us as well, which is, you know,
bro, you guys support, big up you as well, because you, I said, hands down, every time something's released, it's you sharing it, you posting it, you're always there for everyone. I said, and you guys, you and a few other platforms don't get the recognition you guys deserve for always being there, because even though you don't consistently release music, like you said, it takes you a while, you are always consistently pushing us as a scene. And I hope that if anyone blows up, which, you know, someone's going to eventually, they don't forget all the things that you guys have done behind the scenes, because it's massively appreciated for us as well, because without you, you know, there's no hype to a certain degree, like. So, but like I said, bro, I massively appreciate your time for taking your time out to speak to me as well, and big up everyone who's watching or watched. Yeah. This far. If you watched this far.
Where can people find you on social media so they can bother you?
Literally, it's Brighty on everything apart from Snapchat. My Snapchat's Brighty Music, but it's Brighty on everything. Even my Xbox and PlayStation gamer tags it's Brighty. I don't know how I've managed it. I've wangled that somehow.
What are you mainly playing on, PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox, because I got a Series X now. So I've gone to the dark side, because I was PlayStation for a few years. Before I forget, at Bard Picasso on everything as well, and the Bard Picasso YouTube channel. I think it's either weekly or every other week that Welcome to Cadenceville is coming out on there. And go and check out the Bard Picasso Facebook page for like all updates and everything from an incredible group of people, not just artists, human beings. Sweet.
Facts. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for taking your time out of your day to come and chat to us. Thank you very much for coming and watching, and we'll see you next time for another episode. Peace.
Sweet.
You give me that bass, give me that vibe, you give me that rise, you give me that wave, give me that high, yeah, give me that fire, you give me that, hey, give me that vibe, you give me that rise, you give me that wave, give me that.